Hey, Dan Larsson here. Welcome to Synthesize Sunday 085. And this is a live event now. And I've been working on a Riddim pack or something like that. And I thought, why not to dig deeper a little into my old projects and find something interesting. And so I came up with this stuff. So this is a pretty old project, but let me show you what we are working on with a friend of mine, like Riddim basses, like... So these are pretty boring sounds, to be honest, but maybe some of you guys was interested in these sounds. So let's go to this project, what I show you, and it is pretty simple, to be honest. The first sound, it sounds like a noise, something like, it's not very tonal, but it's a little noisy kind of sound, but it's very good because it still has its own tone, especially with the phaser kind of effect, and it is very interesting that it doesn't contain any phaser on it, but somehow the sound itself is like pretty cool. To be honest, I like it. And the second version of that is, well, it's totally only a noise kind of stuff, and the sub gives the tonal sound of that. So for example, if you want, you can spice it up using a simple delay, and I have a fake stereo preset, what I made for it, and we can tweak that to give you a little metallic kind of tone to it. So for example, let's link, because we don't want any stereo effect, and let's push up the feedback to about, 50% should be enough, maybe 12 milliseconds or 15 milliseconds should be cool. But the trickiest part here is to fine-tune, to set the milliseconds where you create the tonal, the tone basically of the sound. So we are in F, I believe, F0, yeah. So you should find the millisecond which will, give an effect in F. So it is pretty hard, but maybe with the sub we will be able to tune that to F. Yeah, something like that should be cool. And I don't recommend to put it before the OTT because it will bring up the tail of the delay too much, but maybe it can be cool in some cases, like dropping a reverb and just automating the drive-at knob, to create a kind of sucking effect which will like suck the basses into, like the bass shot into another part of the drums or of the groove. So let's try to tweak it a little, like tweak the drive-at knob, something like this, and pull it back when the next note plays. Yeah, so this is the effect what I want here. Maybe the high cut and the highs of the diffusion will help us to create a more drastic effect. Yeah, I think it's better, but maybe it's a little too much, so let's click back that high cut on the diffusion. Yeah, it's a lot cooler. So this is a cool effect to play around with. I mean, you know, the sound itself is not very interesting, but I think in some cool musical surroundings with different other effects, other sounds like rhythm basses or even neuro basses, it can be cool. I think it's a little too short. So let's get back, so let's get into this Serum effect, the Serum preset, sorry, because you can see the effects, the post-process is not very drastic here. So like I just made a simple delay on 22 milliseconds with, well, at around 40% of feedback, some reverb and OTT, and well, okay, let's hop into this OTT because this is pretty important here. So I know that most of you guys don't really touch, you know, the settings here in the multiband compression. I assume this is because most of you guys are very afraid of that device because, you know, you can tweak like tons of things here, but it's not that complicated, and especially the time knob is pretty interesting here because, okay, maybe let me present it to over-explain stuff. So if I push back or pull back the time to about 10%. Let me show you what it does. So it tweaks the attack and the release times like a very short amount. But if I push it up, the time, for example, 100%, it just, you know, creates very, very sharp transients. Well, not transient, sorry. Anyway, the attack and the release time will change. And if you push it up the time, you know, you will hear that all those like extra tails, what you don't really need, disappear. And it is, well, I use the OTT settings this way like all the time because, you know, you won't get those very nasty and very irritating tails. So I highly recommend you to push up the time or even, you know, just play around with. This is not too much what you can do here, but this like creates a very, very nice result. And even the output can be handy, but this time it is not very interesting. All I'm saying is the time, you know, there's a huge difference with this, where you can basically can't create like very sharp rhythms, because all the sounds are washed together and they're very muddy. But if you push up the time, it's a lot better. Although, with the reverb sucking effect, the reverb effect, I think we should play around with this time, like pulling it back here. Yeah, it's a little too drastic, so let's tweak that envelope again. So as you can hear, it definitely creates very, very cool changes. Okay, so let's get to the preset itself. It is very, very simple. I have this wavetable with 16 voices of unison, you know, to create a very noisy kind of sound. And I modulated it, oscillator A with oscillator B, which is a simple sine wave, but I'm not using FM now. I do. I'm using FM. In the other preset I used RM, if I'm correct. RM. So the goal was here to make the sound into a very noisy kind of tone, and the LBH24 filter type is very, very cool because, you know, you can use low pass, band pass and high pass filter. And if you change the morph, you can go between the low and the band and the high pass filter types. So this way you will be able to create, you know, a kind of band-based filter, but sometimes you can play around with the low and the high pass, so, you know, you can create very interesting changes to the sound during the automation. So you won't go full band pass, It is very cool. But also you can play around with, just opening up the lows, opening up the highs, whatever you want. And all you need to do is just play around with the morph knob. So with LE41, I change a lot of parameters and automate a lot of parameters. For example, the wavetable position, the level, the morph, the cutoff. And all the effects I have here is the compressor, in OTT mode. And this is all. Now, also a wavetable is, I think I made it, it's a custom wavetable, and I made it like a very, very simple way. I think it was a simple sine wave or a saw wave or something, and I FM'd it with another sine wave or with another saw wave on a very high course or a very high octave. So basically the patch was the same, like you can see here, but I resampled it and put it back into oscillator A. So this is a very nice stuff and a very nice sound itself on itself. So let me show you how it sounds without FMing and stuff. It's a very basic dubstep kind of metallic sound. So this is the sound itself. Maybe it can be helpful, for example, if you want to create like regular dubstep basses, zombie kind of stuff. But right now it is crazy. Okay, so I just don't recommend you to use it this way. Of course, you can filter it and stuff, but this is like crazy stuff here. Very crazy. Let's play around with it a little. Anyway, this is just not good, okay? But with the other effects, we can go pretty cool rhythmic kind of stuff. So this is the wavetable, and this is the sound. I think it cannot be simpler. And to be honest, this is a noisy kind of sound, as I told you before, but I think it works, especially with the sub. It goes into a tonal kind of sound. Now let's check the other sound. I think it can be handy if we drop this simple delay here too. To like making it or giving it a little metallic kind of tone again. Okay, the preset itself is again the same. So let's hop into Serum and see what we get. This is the same sound. This is the same wavetable, but this time I didn't use any FM on it. 16 voices of unison, but I used a band minus, which I think, okay, it is activated by LE41. So this is all here. The effect again is a simple compressor on OTT mode and the same filter. But playing with band plus warping mode, it creates a very nice phaser kind of effect somehow. I don't know how, but it just gives the sound its tone. So if you change the warping mode, you can create 1,000 kind of sound from this preset. It's not really a preset because it is a simple wavetable filtered and compressed, so we are not doing too much to it. But for example, if you copy it to oscillator B, this is what I really love to do. And for example, use a mirror mode. You can create some very interesting changes to the sound. Oops. Let's route it to filter B, oscillator B to filter 2, and let's play around with the wavetable position on oscillator B, and wavetable position, and maybe on the warping mode too. So let's see what we can do here. Yeah, maybe this can be an interesting thing here. On trigger mode, let's try it. How cool is this? So for example, you can play with different warping modes, like maybe the synchronize can be cool. Oh my god, what is happening here? Maybe let's try a different one. But my favorite is the mirror, because you know it is very, very different to all the others warping modes what you could use in Serum, and what you, I assume, most of the times you do. So the mirror mode is pretty good. For example, neuro basses. I made several neuro basses, like using the same method, like, you know, making a wavetable, routing it to the filter, adding different effects and stuff, and using another instance of the same wavetable. But the only change I made to it is using it in mirror warping mode, like with mirror warping mode, sorry. And you know, like detuning it and stuff, fine tuning, and this will create a very, very like different sounds. So you can play around and you have like several different variations. Yeah, maybe we can make fifth for this. Or seventh, maybe. Well, I'm not sure about this. So yeah, it's a very nice way. So I think this is a pretty nice project, which you will be able to download this from the descriptions below when I, you know, upload the stuff. So if you guys have any questions or suggestions or asks, just drop it here into the chat, okay? So I will reply. I will try to reply and answer your questions. So a fifth is 7 semitones up. I know that, dude. I just tried different stuff here, but I didn't like it, to be honest. Somehow the sound turned into a very untonal, or I don't know. I just didn't like its sound. Maybe we can try it without warping mode. Now, I don't know why is this. Oh, my CPU meter. It just doesn't like what I'm doing here. Let's pull back the unison on both of the oscillators. Light 7, it should be cool. We probably won't hear any others. We won't hear any other differences by decreasing the voices. What do you mean by you will be able to send a preset? I mean, do you want to download it, Dylan? Yes, of course you will be able to download this stuff. I mean, both of the basses, okay? Cool, all right. Now what I did here in the basses group is I applied some EQing, what I felt necessary to do that. And I applied a sidechain compressor, you know, which docks all the sounds. Well, this group contains a sub, what I don't recommend you to follow. I always, you know, process and add the sub like not in the same group, but I have the regular basses like a mid basses and high basses. The sub is a very different instrument, so I like to treat it differently and separately. But this is a very old project and I did it this way, so sorry for that. Anyway, let's put it back because everything is processed together. And it sounds fine. I mean, I have no problem with it, but today I would not do it this way. Anyway, I use a compressor based on the drums, which is deactivated now. Yeah. Oh, yes, because I tried different grooves, different drums, so probably this is why it is deactivated. Now, in the compressor, the sidechain compressor, it is, well, this is how I always do. You need to, you know, find the length of the ducking effect you want to achieve. And the regular old compressor in live is pretty smart and pretty clever because it has an EQ. And what it means is, for example, you can use high pass, low pass, band and stuff. Now, why is it important? If you don't know, let me tell you. So let me draw. No. Let me set up something here, like, oops, not this one. I just need a kick, like, where is a good kick? In one of my very old pack. Okay, this can be cool. So if I start to analyze this kick, you will see. Of course, I will be able to send you the preset, Dylan. Everyone will be able to download this from the video description. So if you have a look on this kick, you will see that it has different frequencies in different areas. So for example, in this section of the kick, we have a very very high and very big amount of sub frequencies. I can't really tell you what frequencies are dominant here, but if we go higher, we have higher frequencies, like a middle low basses. For example, let's take this is like 80 Hertz, but this section plays at around, I don't know, like 150 or even 200 Hertz. And we don't really need to talk about the transient because it's a very different stuff here. Now, if you use this full kick drum as a controller for the ducking effect, at the sidechain compressor, what the sidechain compressor will do, it will duck everything till the kick ends. So if this is a very long kick, the sidechain effect, the ducking effect will be very long too, which is not very cool, and I don't really like to do that. So the EQ here in the compressor is very clever because you can select different frequencies what you want to use. You want to use to control the sidechain, the ducking effect. So if you don't want your sidechain effect be too long, you really need to filter out the very lows. So this way we will be able to, for example, select this section of the kick only. Because with the EQ here, we filtered out the very highs, the very lows. As you can see, I set everything here, at around 500 Hertz, sorry. And this is very, very nice because we won't have any sub, which is the longest part and the heaviest part of the kick drum, which will create a very long sidechain, a very long ducking effect, which I don't really like and don't really want. So this is why I like to use an EQ and, go a little higher with the frequency, so my sidechain and ducking effect won't be that long and won't be that drastic. And this is what I want. So let me show you. Oops, where is the stuff we're doing? Okay, why don't we have any sound coming out from... Oh shit, yeah, sorry. You are right. So this is the high pass filter, but this will be a little too much. So I just use the peak or what is a dot or something. Yeah, sorry for that. But you got the idea, I believe. So this is the idea. Opa, sorry. This is the idea behind the EQ on the compressor, which is a very, very nice way, a very, very handy way to, fine tune your ducking effect. So these are the basses, and I have the drums. Pretty nice and clean effects, clean sounds, clean drums. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any further questions, then I would say see you guys next time. But you still have some time to drop any questions here. Sorry, it's a little late here. It's about 11:30 p.m. Yeah. I have some very nice Riddim sounds here, basses, what I made. This is an interesting sound. It was again not very tonal. I like this one too. It's some crazy crap again. Also, I'm working on a Neuro bass, Neuro Serum pack. Hopefully I will be able to find it. Like bass is Neuro Patchworks, yeah. And one of these basses was the nephew's sub bass, from, I don't know what was the number of that Synthesize Sunday episode, but in one of the previous episodes I made a bass out of this pack. So let me show them. I hope you will love them. And these are pure Serum sounds, pure Serum presets, okay? No post-process applied. very phasery effect. So most of the, some of the sounds are very similar to I love this sound. Which genre I would say I am the best at sound designing? Maybe dubstep, I think, because I really enjoy those kind of basses. Especially if I can use FM8 for that, because Serum is just overused. You know, Serum is overused, and all those reverb filtered basses are just not really. It's just not my taste. Talking about FM8, let me show you a little stuff I made, and hopefully one day I will finish, or I will make and form this into a full song. So this is well, not really a rhythm song or not a rhythm drop, but the sound itself, the main bass itself, like maybe reminds you those rhythm basses. Although the drums is dubstep. Anyway, let me show it to you. This is full FM8. All the sounds are FM8, and I had some vocal cuts here and there. So this is the stuff.
Got it like cartel and the yo blowing O's.
And I have several stuff which are from FM8 because I love that stuff. You know, you can create very, very unique sounds. I never wondered that Skrillex used FM8 for his signature sounds, because it has so cool character, and you can create like crazy stuff in that.
This is my sound.
Everything here is FM8 again, and we have several other stuff, like the song what I played before the stream contained FM8 sound. The drop was completely FM8. Well, not completely FM8, but the main bass was from FM8. This ooh ooh kind of sound is from FM8. Plus, I had this collab with a friend of mine where I applied a really nice bass here in the second drop. This is FM8 again. So for example, you won't be able, and you will never be able to create this kind of tone out of and bring out from any other synthesizers, because it's just you know, it's FM8, it has its own character, it has its own sound, it's just crazy good, man. You miss a lot if you don't want, or if you are afraid of using FM8. And there are a lot of courses out there in any sites, you know, where they explain everything. And myself created like 4 different courses on FM8, one for Academy.fm, one for Warp Academy, and I don't remember which was the third one, because you know FM8 is so cool. Don't save time on learning that synth. It's so cool. And maybe here I have several FM8 sounds too, but I'm not sure. Let me listen back again. Nice stuff, but this doesn't contain any FM8 sound here, but this one does.
Got it like cartel in the yo blowing O's.
Oh no, I know. Sorry for teasing stuff here, but this is one of the best stuff what I ever made, and this is not a full song. This is just a 8 bars long loop, but hopefully someday I will be able to form this stuff into a full song. But this is awesome. Okay, I'm very proud of the stuff. This is crazy. I love this sound. But to be honest, this sound has 3 layers. The first and the main layer, what you hear, like, I don't know, like 80% is FM8, and it has a Serum layer under it. Just it creates some lower tone, lower growliness kind of stuff. And it has another layer, which was a vocal, but it's just, you know, some cuts here and there. Wait, what, you know, makes and creates a vocally kind of tone, like articulating just slightly. It really is a vocal, so under the basses. Yo, Bobby. What's up? I'm just, you know, streaming a little because I'm so bored. What's up, Bobby? What are you doing here, man? Don't you have any other stuff to do? I feel bad for liking that the best, Johannes. The VR stuff. It's okay, man. Or are you a girl? Because Maria reminds me of a girl's name. Yeah, this is a little unique kind of stuff here because it's not really very regular kind of drop like what you always hear anywhere and everywhere. Maybe this is the problem with me. Some of my friends say that I am too elitist, that I don't want to release any song which is like a little similar to other guys' stuff and other guys' drop. No, I'm a guy. Mari is just my second name. Okay, so you must be like a Spanish kind of guy or something, because there Maria is a male name. Okay, sorry for calling you a female. Yeah, the collab idea one is gold. I love it. The collab, which collab? The Camille collab. Yeah, it's cool. Vaxon, I finished all the tracks reviews. So tomorrow or next week, I will post a new post on Facebook asking for tracks to roast. Okay, so this was today's Synthesize Sunday episode. Oh, and there are other neuro basses here to show you guys. So these are pure Serum presets, no post-process applied. This one was not that interesting, I know, but you know you need to be colorful with the preset. Yes, Maria or Johannes. I think VR is pretty good in sound design, but I don't know. Somehow I would not call his sounds very unique. I mean, I hear all his sounds in every dubstep, as every dubstep drops. Basically, it's just I don't know. I don't hear too much uniqueness in his sounds, although in the arrangements VR Valentin is pretty good. So he makes very, very nice. So how he sequences these basses, what I would not call too unique, is just awesome. And how he builds up his songs, like with the intros and the melodies, the harmonies, and the drops, sequencing those crazy basses is very, very cool. So Valentine is just he's very talented. But somehow the basses themselves, I just would not call those very, very unique. Maybe I am wrong, I don't know. Yeah, maybe because of the presets pack. Well, I don't do too much preset packs, to be honest. I mainly release sample packs. Now this is an interesting sound. It can be handy to dubstep too, for dubstep too. But this is a cool sound, and remember these are only Serum presets, so no post-processing applied. No, Vexon, I'm not doing any tracks reviews now. But next week I will do. Oh, I see now, Johannes. Yeah, that's true. He releases lots of presets. This is crap. This is weird too. I need to tweak this a lot. Yeah, that's true. That's true. He taught a lot. Maybe I remember I learned a lot from his videos too. But that's nothing, to be honest, because when I released the pack, the Dubstep Monsters Volume 2, and Zombo himself used several sounds from it, and even Skrillex downloaded or turned out it was not himself, but he got these sounds from one of his friends. You know, that friend downloaded from my video the snare and passed it over to Skrillex. Just, you know, I would not be any prouder. This was crap again. This was an interesting sound again. Regular neuro bass. This guy. Now this was a heavy one. I really love that. Boost processing, I do that, but since Ableton 10 has groups in groups, I don't really boost compress since then. So I just this was a heavy one. I love that. So I just, you know, use groups and that's all. Betty. Ooh, that was a heavy one. Ooh, I love this sound. Did I show this to you guys? It's an operator sound. Listen to this. Let me push up the BPM to drum and bass tempo. Maybe this will fit to this bass. So this is very, little like noisy kind of stuff. I really love that. And you know what I'm doing? Just, you know, automating the low pass filter in the auto filter here. Because without that, the sound would be painful. I don't really understand your question, Vexen. So maybe in the next Synthesize Sunday episode, I will break down this sound, okay? But it is very simple, to be honest. Harsh frequencies. So how would I remove the harsh frequencies on the sound of the sounds in groups, or on the sounds, the harsh frequencies? Of course, like using an EQ, like going and finding the resonating frequencies, like making a pick and activating this headphone kind of stuff, and finding the most painful frequencies here. You just want to cut them out. Or if you are wealthy, you can buy not ozone, that mixer plugin. And it will analyze your sound and give you what frequencies you need to duck and remove to, just remove all the resonating frequencies. I think that can be I never used it before, but it can be very helpful if you don't want to tweak around with all these little dots and just going crazy, because after a while your ears got very, very tired and you won't be able to, this is what I experienced. You won't be able to deciding, is this a frequency what I don't really like, or it doesn't need to be there, or just my ears are resonating and then it's, hearing stuff what I should not hear there. So that can be a handy plugin. But to be honest, I never used before. One of the friends I have told me that he has it, or he tried it, maybe downloaded the trial, or I don't know. And he told me that it makes a pretty decent job. So maybe you should try that, dude. I think that would be handy, okay? But most of the cases, I take care of the middle basses, like I did here, at around 200, between 200 and 400 hertz, and at around 4K, okay? Like 4, 5, 6, 7K. Those are the most annoying frequencies. If you don't take care of them, it can be painful. And the last stuff here is to, low pass. Low pass the very, very highs, maybe above 12K. Most of the new raw producers do that, and even in dubstep it can be a handy thing and a smart thing, a clever thing to do, because when I analyzed Zomboy mixdown, what I heard is, he didn't let all the high frequencies out, only on separate instruments. So for example, he always let the hi-hats be the shinest part of the song, and he always cuts the very, very highs from the basses. They always shine and they are always very clean and clear, but the very highs are not there. So for example, at around 12K, I think it is not necessary to have anything. It really depends on the style, because lately dubstep is mixed to a very, very harsh and, for me it is, annoyingly harsh way. I don't really like that, because you always need to separate different instruments with mixing and EQing. So this is what I recommend to, high pass. Brick walls like 16K. It can be a good thing to have that too. But the idea is the same, to apply this on, for example, the basses or on the synth instruments. But on the highs, he always uses like metallic kind of hi-hats, not noisy hi-hats. It is really hard to explain, but if you remember how a ride cymbal sounds when you hit a ride cymbal with a stick, it is like a metallic kind of tone, and it doesn't have that noisy kind of sound, which, for example, a regular hi-hat would sound. Even if it's opened or closed, it doesn't really matter. It has more noisy kind of frequencies. What I heard in Zomboy's mixdown, all his hi-hats are very, very harsh and very, they are not loud, but they are very harsh and they contain lots of high frequencies. And this is the main stuff what I experienced. And the other thing is on the drums. He likes to use very harsh frequencies also on the transients only. So this way, the basses and the instruments are not very harsh and not very, they don't contain too much highs. And only the hi-hats and only the transients contains those very harsh and very ear-bleeding high frequencies. So this way he is able to, you know, make punchiness to the sound, give punchiness to the sound by using, I mean, on the transients, and the hi-hats will shine. And this is why you hear his mix downs very clean and very, very, you know, awesome. Also, the other thing is he always uses quality drums, quality samples, and quality basses. You know, he always shines and cleans his basses. They are just crazy clean. I don't know how he does that. Maybe he spends hours and hours to find the best process to, you know, keep the sound clean, but also go into very high and very, you know, very fat and very low and evil kind of tones to the sound. And this is very important. If you sound design, you just don't want to have a sound evil or fat. But if it loses its cleanness or shine, you know you didn't do anything. You always need to make your sound clean too, not only fat and evil or stuff. And this is where Zombo is really talented, I believe. Okay, he uses samples and stuff, but who cares, man? He's an artist. He can use anything if he makes it like a cool song. It just doesn't really matter, and you know, it doesn't bother me, especially if he uses my samples. That is always cool, and I'm very proud of that. And we are the same. He always uses quality sounds. You know, he takes a lot of and puts a lot of efforts into clean up his sounds, the basses and every other elements, and even the drums. And this is a cool thing, you know, if you want to make like clean mix downs. And I like to follow that too. For example, in the VR Riddim inspiration, what I showed you, I think I was able to achieve that. I don't have any effect here. Oops, warping mode off. Yeah, so this is it. I think it's clean, I think it's fine, but somehow the groove is, I don't feel mine, so it is not my style. This is why I'm struggling to go anywhere with this, because it's just, you know, I'm not that guy who, I just don't feel it mine. I feel this mine. I think this is my drop. Okay, so it is midnight here. I think I need to go to sleep now. And see you next time, guys, okay? Bye-bye.